Like a lion's mane.
You're not funny. Get out.
From a jelly baby.
It's going to be great.
Hello, welcome to the introduction. You know who it is sitting opposite there that I'm very excited about because you've seen his name and there's probably a thumbnail. So there's no excitement, and yet I'm excited. This man is an encyclopedia, a temple, a big pile of comedy. It's Harry Enfield.
Hello. I've never done a podcast before, so I'm quite nervous.
I'm so flattered then. He said, bringing it back to himself.
Yeah, quite right.
Well, thank you for doing this. Thank you.
Right, I'm going to relax now.
You don't do many interviews, do you?
No.
Why?
But because I sort of made that decision when my children were born that I try and keep away from embarrassing them. But they're now adults, so I can embarrass them again. I don't want to be a personality, a celebrity. I want to be... just do what I do. That's the main reason.
I read that when your kids were growing up, they didn't know that you were a famous comedian.
No, they didn't.
How on earth?
Do you know this story?
Go on, with the police?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on, tell it.
Why?
How
Did I tell you that, or is it
I read
common?
it.
Really?
Yeah. That's another. You never read stuff about yourself either, do you?
No.
Never.
No, but this is a true story. So when my son, I guess he was about 6 or something, Archie was about 6, Poppy was then about 4, and my little girl, Nell, was about 2, I suppose. So, and Archie came across this video, and it was like Harry Enfield and Chum. He said, Dad, what's this? With a picture of Kevin. I said, oh, it's a telly series. Like, can we watch it? Okay. They put the video in, and the three of them, these 3 little children, sat watching this thing, like really in shock, seeing their dad doing all these strange things, like complete silence and shock. Then the doorbell went, and I opened the door, and it was the police, and they said, have you got a silver bike? And I said, yeah. And, oh, it's gone. And they said, yeah, someone said they just saw someone steal it from here. Oh, gosh. Would you like to come in? So they came in to take my details. And I just sort of realised that my children were just over there watching me on telly, looking really shocked. And we were talking about my bike, and I could see the police taking this in. You know, it just looked like I sat them there. And I couldn't say, look, this is the story here. It just looked like I made my children. I got in from work, you know, it's about 5 o'clock or something. I sat my children down, my tiny little toddler children, and said, watch this, because they all looked so unhappy.
How could they have got to that age and not known what you did?
Well, I probably wasn't on telly, or anyway, it's always late at night, and it's not what you really are. I never really asked my dad what he did.
Did you not?
Well, I mean, I did later on, but not at the age of 6. I knew he went to the office, you know. I mean, you don't go, you know, what motivates you when you're at the office, Dad, do you? You know,
I like a round of applause when I come down the stairs. And I rate my children by how much they rate my most recent project.
Yeah, and how much better they think you are than Lee Mack.
Oh, yeah.
Or David.
Exactly. Yeah. I read once, and it's a similar thing, that Jennifer Saunders said something like that she and Aid Edmondson, the kids were sort of blissfully unaware of what they did. But I always wondered about the practicalities of that, because I thought it'd be very difficult.
Why? Why is it difficult?
Well, because it's such a big part of your life. You leave the house to go and do something.
Yeah, but people do that, don't they? They go to work. Everyone goes to work, and you come back. And, you know, when you're that age, and you don't want to say, I've been really struggling with these jokes I've been trying to, you know, to a 5-year-old, do you? They want to go, look, Dad, bang. And you go, wow.
What you've done is you've treasured their childhood and their innocence, haven't you? I tell you another aspect of it may be that you had success really young. I think of you as being like Coogan in that sense.
Yeah.
Because you were doing Spitting Image at what age?
24, 4, I
Gee
think.
whiz.
Yeah.
And that was a huge show, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Although, of course,
it
they
was.
can't see you, but
We're on to Coogan already.
he looms large. He looms large.
Yeah, because I did Spitting Image from sort of, I think, 1985 to about 1990. And by then I was already doing my television program and stuff. So I was a bit sort of bored of it by then. Of Spitting, it was every Saturday. And I was sort of like, I've had enough of it now.
Yeah.
I've done it for 5 years. And in the last year I was there, Coogan came in. And
Tell me about that.
yeah.
And you don't have to be kind.
I'll just tell you as I remember it, which was, so recently my sister, who's called Lucy, is a script supervisor. She generally works in Scotland. And last year she was doing Stephen Frears' film of
The Lost King.
The Lost King.
I don't.
Coogan.
I think Steve would call it a Steve Coogan film. But carry on.
Yes, exactly. Well, it is a Steve Coogan film. He's brilliant in it. But anyway, she texted me and said, Steve is, she talked very highly of Steve, I have to say. She said, I told Steve, Steve's found out that you're my sister or something, and said, he was so lovely to me when I started on Spitting Image. So I texted her back saying, well, I don't think that was the case at all. I thought, who is this northerner with permed hair who reads car magazines? I'm not going to talk to him. So I think I didn't talk to him for the whole series. So she said, Harry said he was rather mean to you on the first series and didn't talk to you. And he said, yes, actually, that was the case.
So he'd just been being polite.
Yeah,
He read
being
car
polite.
magazines then, did he?
Yeah, he had car magazines and permed hair. And
Was it permed or was it just? I think it's naturally shaggy.
oh, okay. Well, it looked to me sort of long. He looked like a sort of light entertainment person rather than
Oh, you won't like that.
rather than a brainy person. So I just looked down my nose at him, and I don't remember talking
Did
to
you
him at all.
really? Did you read? Oh, that's funny. He read car magazines all the time. Or whenever we did the trip,
Yeah.
we'd be somewhere in the world, And it's just about look at that. This is 1969 E-Type. This is one of the originals. When I met you, I was very nervous of you. Did we run?
Good.
Yeah. But did we run into each other in the
Why?
street once? Do you remember that? Down a little alley off Oxford Street. I seem to remember that that's my memory, is that we saw each other. This is some years ago now. And we stopped and we talked.
Yes, well, that sounds right. I don't remember that.
No,
I
it would be
remember
a bigger thing for me than it would have been for
I
you.
remember talking to you a lot at David Walliams' 35th birthday party.
Wow, okay.
And it was full of lovely people like George Michael, who I hadn't seen for years, but I used to know in his early 20s.
I met him on Richard and Judy, and he was a guest and I was a guest.
Yeah.
And in the green room, I said, I saw Wham at the top rank in Swansea. And he said, oh, it smelt of piss. And I thought, a bit harsh on the Welsh. And he said, no, the whole tour. Because on that tour, the girls couldn't contain themselves. And so his memory of that Wham tour was of that. How did you get on Spitting Image in the first place?
I met John Lloyd through a chap called Anthony Wall, who worked for invented Arena, Arena on BBC Two. And I'd met him through someone who worked for him. And anyway, I'd written this script called Norbert Smith. And it was about 1994. I was about 23. And Anthony was really lovely about it, but said, I don't make piss takes of Arena. I just make Arena, but you should meet my friend John Lloyd. And so I met John Lloyd, and he said, well, I can't make it. I'm doing Spitting Image, so can you do voices? Well, he didn't say that. I said, I'll be on it.
Did you?
Because you're sort of like that at that age.
John Lloyd, for people that don't know,
Sorry.
is a huge figure in comedy. Blackadder, Spitting Image.
Not the 9 o'clock.
Not the 9
news.
o'clock news, which was huge and hugely influential.
QI,
which again is huge. I came to see a recording, I might have told you
Did
this,
you?
of Harry Enfield's television programme.
Really?
Queued up at the BBC, got
Good.
tickets, queued up, came in,
Yeah.
sat down, so excited, right? And then, it's all great. It's not going to, and I was very disappointed. It's not going
Sounds
to.
like
No, I know it does. Yeah,
It sounds like one of those letters. Dear sir,
I travelled to BBC Television Centre.
I queued up.
At considerable cost. No, but what I remember about it is that I wasn't aware, I'd never heard of Paul Whitehouse, and he talked to the audience, is my memory of it, quite a lot. And my reaction was, who the hell are you? I've come to see Harry Enfield. Who's this bloody? He's a bit full of himself, isn't he? Right? And then during the course of it, he was very good in the sketches, but you only saw a little bit of him. And then, of course, he went on to do what he's done. But I really remember going, where was this guy? I don't want to see him. I've come to see Harry.
That's so funny.
It was probably the first recording of a television show that I ever went to.
Yeah.
And started to see the other side of it.
All I remember of doing that series is one recording. It was probably that one, where I'd been really ill, so I'd had an upset stomach. And it was the day of the recording, or 2 days before, and I'd taken loads of stuff to get rid of the upset stomach. And now I was seriously constipated. And I was in my dressing room, and there was nothing I could do about it. And I had to go out, and all the time, all I was thinking was, I really want to be sitting on a loo. One of my favourite bits ever in the trip is the bit where you're doing your little voice.
Oh, the small man in the box.
It's like a corpse.
Yes,
at
Pompeii.
Yeah.
You can do that, I would imagine.
I can't do that voice. My one goes like this. Do you remember?
Hello, Rob. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. It's really nice to see you here, Harry. How you doing?
That is incredibly good.
Listen, Harry, that's one level, right? But if I squeeze it harder, wait till you hear this. That was a really tiny one. Oh, my word, I don't know how you do that.
Right, here's what I thought this morning. I want to
Amazing.
Hope you're game for this. I want to name some of your characters, and I want you to just give me one word or sound as them. This is fun. This is fun, okay?
God.
Just one word, okay? Here we go. Stavros.
Hello.
Tim Nice But Dim.
Hi. Hello.
So similar material, but just a different voice. If you want to vary it at all, feel free.
Okay. Sorry.
Dave Nice.
Rock-a-doodle-doo.
I love that character.
Did you?
I love that character.
Gosh.
Kevin.
No. I'm not doing these very well, am I?
No, you're not. Thank you. The Scouser.
You back?
Loads of money.
Loadsamoney.
The thing you do, I don't know what the name was, but you and Paul were doing 44, 45?
Oh, 40, 45. 40, 45. Oh, Charles and Sheridan. Yes. How are your stools? Are they
What was
firm?
that about? I loved that.
They were just like really clever doctors that we knew.
The most recent thing you've done in the autumn of 2022 is the Lovebox in your living room, which is an astonishing piece of work. You must be very pleased with it. You must be very pleased with yourself.
It's quite mad. I mean, it's a history of the BBC sort of thing.
It's a history, it's a celebration, it's a critique, it's a gentle poking, but ultimately, tell me if I'm wrong, at the end, it's a big celebration of it.
Yeah, it's sort of, I mean, our generation, the BBC is very important to us, I think.
Yes.
So it's worked out well for me because I don't like to be preachy, but I do have feelings.
And there's a
so
strong
you like
message.
to try and
Yeah.
share those feelings if you can. And that's what I hope I've done. I feel like I've done because it's gone down critically well.
I think it'll win awards, Harry.
Sympathetic. People are sympathetic with it. Which
It-
is on the iPlayer now.
Yes, and people must watch it. It's so good. It's dense, is what it is. You could watch it. You could watch it several times.
It's so dense.
and be seeing little things.
It's hard to do 100 years in an hour.
You don't say. Have you seen Baz Luhrmann's Elvis film?
No.
There's a parallel with the Lovebox because there's great imagination and creativity. And at the very end, you got Austin Butler playing very late period Elvis, singing Unchained Melody. And at some point in the song, it cuts to the real Elvis from that same thing. And it's very powerful.
Yeah.
And you go, boom. And well, blow me down, at the end of the Lovebox, suddenly we see the real, there's a collection, is there not, of real clips from some of the people.
Yeah.
And I found that at a very similar effect. You go,
Oh, really?
Yeah, you go,
That's good.
I love that. And that's
Yeah.
very powerful.
The point of that was really, obviously, most people will never have seen any of the programs that I'm satirising because it's such a big subject. So
And then they'll go, oh, so that's
it
amazing.
was just to say,
That's a real thing.
Yeah, it was just to go, oh, I see.
These things actually happened.
Yeah, they happened.
Oh, it's a hell of a piece of work. Thanks so much. Before you go, because I don't want this to end, what are you going to do next?
I don't know. I'm working on a sort of sitcom idea with Jeremy Dyson.
Oh, are
It
you?
hasn't been commissioned or anything, but we're really enjoying it.
Thanks so much, Harry.
Thank you, Rob.
I'm so flattered.
Delighted to come to this salubrious part of the world.
I don't want it to end, but we're going to stop. Goodbye.